What was ruined because of 9/11? Story 1, I was 14. The summer of 2001, and my family took a trip to Europe. Being 14 and a nerd, I bought a sword, carried it on the plane home. Security guy asked, "What's in the box?" I said, "It's a sword." He said, "Sweet," and gave me a fist bump. This was like 2 months before 9/11. Story 2, turn of the millennium optimism. Story 3, quick airline travel. People would often show up 30 minutes or so before a flight and be able to board on time. Story 4, casually driving over the border from Canada. We used to go to the US all the time to buy stuff or just hang out. It was no big deal back then. You didn't even need ID. You got more of a hassle coming back because the border guard wanted to catch you, trying to bring stuff back without paying duty. Now it takes much longer unless you have Nexus, but kids, teenagers, don't usually have theirs. I don't think my kids will ever head down to go to the mall, for instance. The US feels more foreign now. Story 5, travel became a lot more of a pain. That was the biggest difference pre- and post-9/11 to someone's everyday life. Before 9/11, air travel was a breeze. I'm from Canada, and before 9/11, we didn't need passports to enter the US and vice versa. So cross-border travel was almost as easy as traveling from state to state. Story 6. Watching The Lord of the Rings, you might notice that the destruction of the Barad-dûr, Sauron's tower, at the end isn't a particularly epic special effect. The thing kind of keels over sideways and then explodes. The Barad-dûr is a tall, thin tower nearly a mile high in Tolkien's world. The special effects team at Weta Workshop had its collapse all planned and modeled out, and then realized with horror that it looked exactly like the collapse of the Twin Towers in New York. Remember that the final movie came out in 2003, and the SFX team were working of the effects in mid-2002, only months after the attack. Too soon for sure, so a guy named Gray Horsefield, great name, took home a workstation over the 2002 holiday break and reanimated the entire tower collapse himself so it didn't look so depressingly familiar. The final result looks fine as an effects shot, but it doesn't get much screen time and it's not particularly realistic. We can all see that it doesn't look realistic because, unfortunately, we've all seen what a tall tower looks like when it collapses. Story 7. Freedom from fear. A lot of kids whose parents transitioned to a fear-based parenting style following 9/11 now employ that same style with their own children. And if you were in the DC area and had to deal with the sniper the following year, your parents went a special kind of crazy. Story 8. Chuck Palahniuk's second novel, Survivor, wasn't made into a movie. Fight Club was a huge hit, but Survivor was skipped because the main character is basically telling his story while crashing a hijacked plane, which wasn't really appropriate after 9/11. So we got a movie adaptation of Choke instead, which has its merits, but was never going to translate well to the big screen. Story 9. Country music. Story 10. Optimism and trust. I was 2 weeks from graduating college on 9/11. The 90s and going into the 2000s, America felt like it was getting there. There was talk of nationalized health care, gay rights, and fairer pay. Despite a person's fears or perception of differences, the world felt like a nicer place and on a worldwide pace of changing everyone's lives for the better. All of that ground to a screeching halt. Everything else took a back burner for the drums of war as the disease of paranoia, xenophobia, or bigotry slowly set in. The helpfulness and hopefulness in the days and months afterward transformed into something different entirely. For as much as 9/11 brought people together in the immediate aftermath, it ultimately tore us apart. The perception of safety and the veil of preparedness were utterly destroyed that day. 9/11 is a sliver in the minds of multiple generations that put a collective mark on all of us that witnessed it or lost someone that day. We all lost something, whether it was simply innocence or naivete that day. We all lost something, whether tangible or intangible. We all lost something. This is a good note to end on. Please write your stories in the comments. I'll be happy to add them to future videos. Also, you can rate our other videos. We would be very grateful. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.